Hello again, my name is Nate, and today from the camera bag I bring you my favorite lens. This is the Nikon 70-200 f2.8 master lens. This thing is just incredible. I love it. It is my favorite lens. I use it whenever I can, and today in this review I'm going to convince you that it is the best lens, because it is. The first thing you will notice when you pick up this lens is it is very, very heavy. Okay, it weighs about 3 pounds, I think. And if you look at it, it's big, but it doesn't look like it should weigh 3 pounds. It's made of solid metal and glass. So yeah, it's heavy. It feels like you're holding a brick in your hand. It's so heavy, in fact, that typically when I'm shooting, like when I'm shooting football games, I will take my nifty little monopod and attach it via its nifty little detachable tripod foot. Right here I have the Manfrotto 681B monopod, and whenever I'm shooting football, it's on here. Okay, so the most important thing about this lens is this little number right there, 2.8. Okay, if you're shooting anything where the lighting is not good, like football games where I shoot under stadium lights at night and it's dark, you gotta have a lens with a maximum, or rather minimum, aperture of 2.8. Okay, what that's gonna do is the aperture is very, very wide, so it lets lots and lots of light in to give you nice bright pictures. So that was the main selling point of this lens for me, because I came from using the 55-200 f4 to 5.6 lens, and because it was a floating aperture, my shots were pretty inconsistent, because when you zoom the aperture shrinks and whatever, because it's a consumer grade lens. This is not a consumer grade lens, okay? This is a professional lens. For that professional lens, you will be paying a hefty price, okay? This lens is the most expensive thing I own. It is more expensive than my camera. It is more expensive than any of my other lenses put together. Depending on where you get it, this lens is going to cost you somewhere to the tune of $1,800. It is, yeah, I saved up for quite a long time to get this lens, but let me tell you something. If you're thinking about getting this lens, save the money and get it, because it's worth it. This thing is spectacular. So as I mentioned before, this lens is a zoom range of 70 to 200 millimeters. This lens is the third lens in a continuous set of the 14 to 24 millimeter f2.8 lens, the 24 to 70 millimeter 2.8 lens, and then this one, the 70 to 200 2.8 lens. It's designed for FX bodies. It's not a DX lens. FX meaning full frame, like the D3 and the D700 bodies, or film bodies. So you will get a 1.5 times crop factor when shooting on a DX body like my D90. I haven't really noticed it to be much of a problem. I wouldn't worry about it. It's really not that big a deal. It's not. Don't let that distract you from getting this lens. It really doesn't make a whole lot of difference, and even if it did, this lens is just incredible. Alright, so now I'm just going to give you a close-up look at the lens itself. As you'll notice, it has a very, very big hood. Big filter. It's a 77 millimeter filter. Very expensive too. That filter cost me like $90. But it's good to have a filter, because you want to be able to replace a $90 filter and not an $1,800 lens. Vibration reduction, it works pretty well on this lens, I'll tell you. It's very quiet too. My 55-200 lens, the VR, you can kind of hear it. This one is pretty quiet. It's got this big, beautiful little gold plaque right here that tells you all about the lens. 70 to 200 zoom range. There's the ring right here. This is a zoom ring. This is the manual focus ring, if you choose to manually focus. And right here along the side are the different function buttons for the lens. First one right here is manual with automatic override or full manual focus. Manual with automatic override means that you can be automatically focusing the lens through the camera, and then if you need to make a quick adjustment, you can just come up here and grab the ring and it'll override the automatic focus, and you can do whatever you need to. This little switch right here, full to infinity to 2.5 meters, means that you can limit how far this lens will focus. If you choose full, it'll go from one point to another on the autofocus, or if you switch to this little lever over, it will focus only as close as 2.5 meters, which will bring up the focusing speed. Like if you're shooting sports and you need to be able to focus quick, it's good to have that little lever moved over so that your focusing speed will increase, and it won't be much of a problem because you'll probably be farther away than 2.5 meters. So here are the VR switches. You can choose on or off, or normal / active right here to choose which VR mode you want. Normal will only cancel up and down movement on the lens. Active, on the other hand, will cancel movement in any direction. I like to use the active mode if you are hand holding this lens because it's just so heavy. You can experiment with yourself and see what works for you. If I'm on the monopod, I use normal VR. If I'm on handheld, I just use the active mode, and it keeps my images pretty steady.